And yes, officially, happy Sunday. Good morning. Welcome to Market Watch Group Sunday Market Insights. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. As always, what we're going to do is for education illustrative purposes only. Nothing is intended or construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security or financial product. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. What are we going to do today? Let's talk about A, market posture. B, what's coming this week from the economic calendar? C, what sectors do we think maybe we should spend some time searching? We haven't done a search in a few days or a few weeks. And as the watch list settles in, I definitely think that identifying the right sectors will definitely make sense for us to get the watch list in the best possible shape. Speaking of watch list, any maintenance necessary? I feel like everything on the list is pretty good right now. We've been deleting things as we go. That's typically how I like to do it, but let's be aware of that. We will create this week's opportunity list. I think it's going to be strong. A big list. Now, I said I think that our score is going to pop into the fives this week. Let me know if you've scored it already and you think, yeah, that's where I am. But I'm anxious for it. So, and then last, but certainly not least, if you're relatively new or if you're a seasoned veteran with us, you guys know I'm always going to do it. Let's try to kick in. Let's make this trading plan loop really strong. A lot of participation. We've had some new people join. They've probably never gotten a full loop in. So let's work as a group to strengthen our plans. I've been asking as we go along for people's evaluations, self-evaluations. What's your score? And let's see if we can't get every aspect of our trading plan to a 7 out of 10. That's it. A 7. We can get to 7s pretty quickly. 8s, that's harder. Anything after 8, it's marginal improvements, but always worth pushing. So Stephen C says 575. Oh, I'm excited. Let's go see it. Let's get into it. I checked my platform and it was working, and then inevitably on Sunday mornings it like arbitrarily shuts down at any given moment, but it's on for now. So let's get to it. Let me open this to 3-year weekly. And let me get this up. We are into July. Let me put this in. Today is the 6th of July. How is that even possible? Okay, long-term trend. So last week, you might be thinking, well, look, we jumped back into the red. Yes. I just don't know that I have enough to raise it. I gave it a 0.5 point last week. I'm at a 1. Now, here's the deal. This is not my long-term trend score. If it was, that would be a 2. That's as good as it's ever going to be. I don't see that. Remember that is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 3 weeks, or 13 weeks, 3 months. That's not a long-term trend. That's a short-term trend. We will score that next. What we're trying to look at is which of these are we maybe going to fall back into? I don't know. It was pretty strong, though. So here we gave it a half of a point, and it was a new high and back in. I'm going to leave it one more week. Did anybody change their long term this last week? If you did, I get it, because it was a pretty strong week. Did you change yours? I'm going to leave mine alone. Steve gave it a quarter of a point. Again, I'm like, as I look at it, I'm like, I could very well easily hit that, but I think I'm going to just give it a little bit of time. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else raised theirs? They were like, yes, this was a very strong week. Even now, here's my question. Steve C, did you raise it a half a point last week? Because if you only went a quarter last week and then a quarter this week, okay. If you went a half last week, quarter this week, you're like a little bit stronger. Yeah, I'm going to leave mine. I get it. I accept. I have zero problems with someone putting their score up a little bit. It makes sense. It is a new high, Sandy says. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. But I'm going to leave it where it is for now. I'd like to see the higher low come, and then wherever that marks, maybe it gets me to a 1.25. Maybe based on the angle, it gets me to 1.5. We'll see. But remember, green is 1.5. Green and blue, 1.5. So I believe if we firmly are in red, red is 1.25, and down here purple was like a 1. So going back to some of these old lines can be useful. I'm going to leave mine as is. Okay, let's go to 6 months daily. And here we were at a 1.5. It actually last week improved by a quarter of a point. Hadn't improved for a month straight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the month that it didn't improve was here. That makes sense. And then last week we got this score and we said, yeah, plus 0.25. And now as we look at what we have drawn here, I think that's a 1.5. What am I at? Oh, I'm at 1.5. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think that makes sense actually right there. That's if I connect those dots, then that's about right. 1.5. Where are you at? Did anybody raise theirs, lower theirs, keep it the same? And I'm not surprised. Like I was like, I don't know if I'm going to end up getting anything more here, because I did give it last week quite the big jump. So yeah, I'm going to leave both of these the same. That's where I am for now. But a 2.5 is a pretty good score. Corrine says, it seems like it should go up. Can I go for 1.65? Hell yes, Corrine. This is your score. You don't even you don't have to adhere to quarter points. You could move yours to tenths of a point. I've had people do that before. I like it. You know, I'm so oriented around a quarter of a point. But if you were like, you know what, Scott? My score is 1.625. Be like, okay. Hell yeah. I love that, though. like what she says was it seems Sandy's like, no, we do quarter of a points. Nope. We can do whatever we want. You could take it to 6 decimals if you want. 1.642793. Okay. I'm all for it. Oh, goodness. I love it. No, I'm keeping it. I think that's a very us at a 1 and a 1.5, very strong. Very strong. And you might be thinking, well, how do you think you're going to get to the 5, Scott? Well, I'll tell you right now, we're about to get there. Because even as I love it, you guys. Even as I leave it alone and I drop down here to look at volume. Last week, 1, 2, 3, 4 days last week. I actually added an extra day. I forgot that we were off on the 4th. That was last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the week before. The week before was great. 3 out of 5. And what happened this week? Now, this day here was up 0.48%. 0.48. And we had a discussion on that Monday. And we said, it's not a 0.5%. And a few people said, nope, I'm sticking to the rules. My point was, well, the rules are kind of like, well, we have to come up with a number, so let's throw a number out there. But at the end of the day, it had volume and it increased. I'm giving buyers credit. It was not just that it was 0.48%, but it was 0.48 and a new high. And then another one here. So I'm giving this one volume. You can see I assigned it to the buyers. If you didn't, I'm not going to be like, what? You should, because that's not how this analysis works. You've come to the conclusion that you didn't need to. I want you to notice over here, that's what happened to our last sell day there. So we now have 2 chunks of data that'll be with us. This one will be with us for another week. And what do we have here? 3 sells, 2 buys, 0 ties. And then we have this over here. And I know I haven't talked about Friday yet. This is 0 sellers, 4 buys, 0 ties. To give us a grand total of 3, 6, and 0. El Jago said, do we look at anything else, like the fact of a new high when evaluated? Well, we did today. We did today because this one was plus 0.48%. And we've said, you know what? As long as it's a 0.5% or more. So then you're like, well, wait a second. That's not a 0.5%. Well, it is if you round. And you're like, well, I mean, then do we say 0.46? 0.455? Okay. This is a judgment call. We will have judgment calls. We're trying to be objectively subjective. Meaning we want this to be a repeatable process, but we want to account for what's going on. And so in this case, for me, the fact that it was a 0.48 and very, very close, but also a new 52-week high. All-time high, actually. We'll put that in parentheses. All-time high. And Sandy just put it best. We do what we want when we want. We are Market Watch. I love it. So yes, for me, the fact that we hit a new 52-week high and got just about that, I'm going to give it the nod, and I did. Right there. Next volume day. Let's move over to the next one, because some of you are like, Scott, Are you insane? It didn't even get close to average there. Well, the problem there, and again, I have to hold my head down in shame to some extent that I moved our appointment I'm like, oh, we're going to meet Thursday instead of Friday because it's going to be closed Friday. And then I moved it into the market being closed because it closed early and I completely forgot about that. That's on me. But let's take that into account because this day here, Friday, was open for 3.5 hours only, when it's normally 6.5. Kareem, that's funny. I just plain forgot. I was like, well, Scott, isn't the market closed? I'm like, yeah. Okay. Let me get this out. 3.5 divided by 6.5. So we only had 50, we're going to round here, 54% of a day. 54% of a day. Okay, we're going to get there. This is 54%. So what are we going to do? We're going to take this number, the 20. I'm leaving the 50 there so you can see what it looks like, but we're using the 20. The green is ours. 75,031,000 and 68. And we're going to multiply that by 54%. So the adjusted average is 40 million. This is adjusted to a half a day. 776. I'm going to go 777. I'm going to round it up. Okay? Now that is the number that we multiply by 1.05. No, I did that wrong, you guys. Divided by 1.005 times 1.05 equals 42. 777. Bob's like, do it this way. He probably is right. I probably could have done it that way. So if we have more than 42,755,755. Writing with the mouse is harder than you think, everybody. I'm just saying. 329 rounding. Then it's an above average volume day. Does that make sense as to why I'm doing that? So I'm not looking at this, which is a full day's volume. I'm saying to myself, as long as we have more than 42,755, then we have 5% more than what the adjusted average for 3.5 hours would be, or would be expected to be. And we have 51 million. We are doing math. She's like, yeah, Scott, we're with you. God, move on, buddy. Okay, I'm with you. Let me get a second calculator up here. Hold on. So we know how much it is. We have 51,065 divided by our weighted average, or our adjusted average of 54,677. That was a 26% volume day. That was a big volume day. So I gave it the B. I gave a B here. So we had 2 days that were sort of like not traditional give it to the buyers days. But I am comfortable with the decision. Okay, give me your thoughts. As you're giving me your thoughts, let's go back to the fact that we are 3 buy or sell. 6, buy, and 0. What does that equal for a score? Definitely buyers in control. That is a 0.5. That is a 0.5. And what was I? 0.25. Bam. Love it. And there's where we pop into the 5s. And I think there's more to come. Definitely more to come from the VIX, at least. Maybe even from one of the others. Yeah, right? I mean, whatever we saw and whatever everybody else is worried about, we see continued improvement. It's not stagnant. In fact, our thought process here is it's likely to find a range where it gets more stagnant. Like, oh, it's going to be, if it sits at 5.25, 5.5 for a month or two, that's technically stagnant. It's not changing. Stagnant as a bull is fabulous. We love that. So yeah, everything looks good. Now that's where it's like, well, what about these tariffs? What about this? What about that? Look, we're not smart enough. I'm not smart enough for those whatabouts. I rely on the institutions to help. And that's very much what we are oriented around. So all the whatabouts, they're there. They're taken into account. Early January, Bob Walker. You're right. Love it. Okay, so major market. Let's get there. It's an interesting day. It's an interesting week this week. But I mean, what can we not argue with? Prices keep going higher. We are at new all-time highs. What does that tell us? It tells us that there are some fundamental characteristics of this market, like the labor market. Everybody's like, oh, there's signs belying the weakness. How many of those have we seen? And we're like, no, we don't accept that. We don't accept your index. We don't accept like, oh, what did we say about ADP? We said ADP is a less reliable report. It has prone to volatility and fluctuations, and we will not come to judgment until we see non-farm payrolls. And what did non-farm payrolls do? It gave us a nice surprise. Let's go pop a look at that. Let's process the jobs. Last week is here. Jer Bear is sticking to his guns, which I like. However, hopefully it still is an open door for September. Job openings, 500,000 unexpected. Now, I saw an article that's like, government data is becoming less reliable or something like that. I'm like, look, we all saw the adjustments during Biden's where it's like, oh, actually, we didn't have all those jobs. And you're like, okay. And if you think that that's the first administration that's done that, then I've got a bridge to sell you in Kansas. I don't know. Anyway, right? Press says it's been consistently. It is, but it's what we have. It's what the institutions have. It's what we have. So, yeah, we can rely on what it's going to inconsistently be. So it is what it is. We have to accept that that's the fact. So job openings came in well, 7.8 million versus 7.3 million. And then ADP employment came out. Looked horrible. Horrible. We think, oh, it's going to be 100,000. And we got negative 33. And it's like, whoa, what? That was shocking. Shocking. And then it's like, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, wait a second. Jobless claims tick back down. We're as close to 215 as we are to 250. So we didn't see that go the other way. And the employment ticked back up. We thought we'd get 110. And everyone's like, oh no, what if it's negative? It's not negative, it was 150. Right back where we were. Then we look at the unemployment report. We thought it might tick up from 4.2 to 4.3, but it ticks down to 4.1. Okay. Now, do I have some concerns that there's like pressures to push data? Yes. Same concerns I had last administration before that, one before that, and the one before that. Yes. Yes. I didn't really trade in the Clinton administration. I was busy going to college and leading my best college life. But I did start in the second Bush administration, and everyone since has been the same way. Second Bush administration, sorry. Second Bush, meaning Bush Jr., but first of his two administrations. All right. Friday, nothing scheduled. Real quickly, let's just, while we're here, take a look at next week. Light. Very light. This next week is about coasting, probably, unless something crazy comes out. We've got nothing on Monday. We've got a weak optimism index, consumer credit, nothing there. Minutes from May, maybe there's some insight there. Jobless claims, expecting it to stay in the 230s. That's a good place, and that's it. The week following, CPI. And when we have CPI, we know that following that is PPI. Then we have sales. And lastly, more sentiment. What else do we have coming up soon? Oh, I need more time. Let me get more time. So the week after, that economic data takes us to the 12th, 13, 14, 15, and 16. What does BBB stand for? Where are you seeing it? Did I have that somewhere? Big Beautiful Bill? I was thinking Better Business Bureau. Big Beautiful Bill. Doing business as, do we think it's beautiful? Here's my biggest concerns. This is what I read. I was reading about, and he says, oh, we want to dominate AI. I accept political. We want to dominate AI, and yet we shut down all of our wind and solar projects and cancel subsidies, which is kind of like apparently was a little FU to the previous administration somehow. And I'm like, wait, that feels like an FU to the country, because 80% of new energy projects were renewables, which means there's not a lot of new stuff. And I know they're like, oh, we get nuclear. It takes like 10 years to build like a nuclear plant. It's a long time. Cut away to China. China has produced more new electricity capacity in the first quarter of 2025 than America did in all of 2024. Why? Because they want to lead in AI. Oh no, they're doing a lot of solar and a lot of wind. a lot of renewables for their newest stuff. Same as us. Like when you look at what's new, do they still have coal? Yeah, obviously, right? Very polluted country. But when you look at the new projects, one country is positioning themselves right now to lead AI with energy production. Not to mention their DeepSeek model is supposedly pretty awesome. I haven't played with that one yet. That's scary, right? That's scary. It's a crazy thing that we're limiting our energy and electricity production in a way at a time when there's two massive new industries that we want to lead that are literally energy dependent, right? When you look at crypto and when you look at AI and you look at the energy capacity, anyway, and a lot of modular nuclear, yes. Those are those little mini, like self-contained ones, right? That work. Ain't no AI on board. Yeah, right, Kevin. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. No, these are the good discussions. Look, I believe that we can have expressions of political leanings in a respectful way. I would say that we actually, as a group, lead the country in that effect. We allow ourselves to get it out there, and then what we do to get the respect back is we always reorient to the market. Solar and wind are too inefficient. I mean, they are more. They're less efficient than we would like them to be. Though, I mean, when you look at the efficiency of what we rely on for coal, I would accept sustainable inefficiency way faster than I would accept polluted inefficiency, right? So there's a big thing there. And I think it's I think that's where you're right. Northern Europe is amazing for their wind energy, and I think that's where the government subsidies come in. I think, press, right, where it's like you're incenting businesses to, include the capacity to store energy for solar to, become more viable, things like that. So anyway, I don't think the right way is to cut the projects, personally. Anyway, all right, let's get back to it. Back to the market. We talked about the economic calendar. Hydrogen is cool. Roads being the source of energy, tops of car parks and footpaths. I've seen that in Japan. My wife was telling me about that in Japan, something like that. So, very cool. All right. Sectors. No. Major market. Let me refresh. Okay. NASDAQ leading on the 200-day. S&P second. The Dow still moving in third. And then we have the Russell lagging. 133. Ooh, look who made a surge on the 133, the Dow. The Dow made a big surge. Russell is there. Okay. Russell still lagging. Does the Dow accelerating help? Yeah, I'm a little concerned when I see large caps move like that. A little concerned. Nothing that's going to change my score yet, but a little concerned. Let's drop down to 66. Now we're talking. What do we like about this? We like that the NASDAQ is leading, and we like that the Dow is lagging. Thank you, press. What do we like? We like the Russell popping. It's level. It's not leading. And it's definitely not leading for multiple weeks, which is what it's going to require for us to raise the score, for me to raise the score. As of right now, half a point is about as good as it's going to get. For me to raise my score up, I need to see... Steven's like, whoa, but wait, there's more. I need to see... Let me move my mouse. Let me turn this color blue. I need to see this move into a leadership position, not a tied position, right? Because it's been tied this whole time. I need it to pop into a leadership, and then when I see that for a couple of weeks, 0.25 more, and then I move to a 0.75. Stephen D just said exactly what mine is. My score doesn't change. I like it. I like to see the Russell doing that. We all like that. That shows us a stronger appetite for risk overall. Yeah, but not enough to score it yet. Now we move down to 22. Ooh, there's, but the problem with this is it literally started when? June 20th. It did a little preview over here, but dropped right back down into the mix, right? But here you can see it made this move up, then a little pullback, and then like bam. So particularly if I go 17 days, you'll see it even stand out more. Uh, 15 days, 14 days. Whoops. 14. The last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, right? What's interesting is the Dow is in second in that 2 week period of time. And the NASDAQ is last. Okay, that's fine. We have small cap participation. It's previewed what we're looking for. We just need a couple more weeks where we see that happening and ready to go. But for me, nothing in the meantime. Did anybody change theirs? Is anybody at a 0.75 on their major market? Let me know. Okay. Let's go to the 200-day on sector rotation. Who's leading? Communication services. Who else is there? Financials. Who else is there? Technology. Who else? Discretionary and industrials. And then down here, healthcare, right? So this looks really good. We go down to 133. I think you'll be all right, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay, 133. Why is discretionary so low? Indeed, because they dipped so hard, right? Discretionary and tech both got beat up so hard on the drop. And technology's recovered and discretionary has not. I think it's recovering now. I mean, this is 133. Let's drop down to 66. There's the pure and easy leader. Very clear technology at the top. Industrials showing some strength. Communication services. Discretionary. The only one that's not in the group is financials. It's down here. And staples. Okay, so yeah, we've got 4 out of 5 with no. Remember what the one that was really throwing us off was utilities, even though we knew utilities had a little bit of a mix. Whew. $22. It's a little bit more mixed in here in the 22. I'm actually going to raise mine, I think. Sorry, I was like kind of looking to see. I'm looking to raise to a 0.75. Gave a sector rotation 0.25. I agree. .75 from, whoops. I'm going to give mine a 0.750, 0.5. I don't know what that score is there. Let's go 0.75. Okay. Last but not least. Sorry, guys, I'm drawing these lines here. I don't know. Now, as I look at this, I was thinking to myself, did we get a lower high here? And I'm actually going to have to say no. I'm back and forth on this one. Let me see. We got down here. We popped up. We never really took out these highs. I don't know, you guys. What's the thought here on this one? $16.14. Yeah. Corrine has a good point. She said, weird, with markets up on Thursday, and not just up, but, actually, no. You know what this is? This was the futures. If you notice, this was on the 4th. So on the 3rd, we were down. So this is fresh. This was like the after hours that ticked. Yeah, I'm not sure why these there had to have been, they closed at 2 p.m. Thursday. Waiting for the reaction. You know what? I think I'm going to do the same. I was pretty convinced that we were going to drop the score on this one. But actually, as I look at this now in totality, I think this is one low. July 9th potential effect. Yeah. I'm going to leave mine alone too. Okay, I'm going to leave it. 5.25. 5.25. Stephen D said, I thought of dropping it, but I could not score a rise without knowing the next day. I like that. Sandy left hers. Okay. Very good, you guys. 5.25. I think that's a reasonable score. I think we talked through it. This makes sense. Let's get into the watch list. Let's start at the top, work our way down. Steven's score is 5.25. Sandy's a 5.5. Okay. Let's see if we can find our range. Kareen's a 5.15. I love that. Who thinks they're the most bullish? And what's your score? And who thinks they're the least? Who thinks they're the least bullish? I don't think anyone's bearish. Greg's 5.0. Okay. Let's get to our watch list. Apple, yes, on the list. Let me put my date. What do I like about Apple now? It broke. It broke the consolidation. This consolidation here. And if you remember, we had an interesting discussion where somebody was like, hey, is that a broken flag? I said, not for me because of this. But if they saw a flag, yes. And in fact, it worked. This to me was the catalyst of breaking the consolidation. Now you'll notice it's moving higher as volume is moving lower. So what do we think? It's likely to pause, give a little pullback, maybe find support on the 50, and boom. Great. If you took it, great. Well done to those who did, Kareen included. Less so, I'm excited for the next trade. So it's on the list. Amazon. We have several of these that could be like trying to break flag patterns. APH on our list. BAC on the list. Now, when I say on the list, does that mean it's tradable right now? No. It's on our list of this could be a trade by Wednesday, Thursday. So we want to have it ready, right? Caterpillar still up, still good. CLS, oh, everything looks good so far. CME now. COF a little bit overextended on this one. I'm gonna leave this off the list because it's moved so far. I don't know. Maybe actually I'm not. Sorry, I'm gonna put it on. EA on the list. GE Vernova on the list. Google on the list. Goldman overextended, too close to earnings. Hood definitely on the list. Howmet on the list. IBM on the list. Meta on the list. Not Morgan Stanley. That one's overextended. Doesn't have time. Microsoft on the list. Netflix setting up. Now, remember, Netflix, we're all excited about, hopefully, for a trade that will produce a spread opportunity for us because of its expense. It's a $1,300 stock. Okay, NVIDIA, strong. Palantir. Roblox, definitely looking good. RTX on the list. No to Tesla. Yes to TSM. No to Uber. Whoops. No to Visa. Walmart sideways. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23. Love it. SoFi. Hell yes. Let's take a look. Okay. I mean, yes, it is, but it's also a strong stock. I mean, whoops. Okay. And yes, Stochastics Crossing. Okay. Remember, everybody, that list will be on the email that I'll send out here shortly. And it will be also be on the okay. Recency frequency test. There you go. Recency and frequency. El Jago. Love it. Real quickly. Personal. This is where we are. The loop. The loop is starting back over. We're on section 1. We are, I think we got three passes in the first 6 months. We're in the second half of the year. We're going to have 3 more loops on the trading plan. Kareen says, yeah, I need to do it. I love it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on Tuesday. We're going to spend some time, but we are on section 1. Remember, having just looked at goals, trading goals, having just talked about trading goals, half of them, or where our goals should come from, are here. When you sit down and you look at your strengths and weaknesses and you say, these are the things I struggle with. I struggle with patience. I struggle with holding on to, I struggle with my emotions when I'm in a winning trade. Or, be granular. We don't need to be generic. Be granular. Be specific. Because when you identify a specific weakness, when we get to the trading goals, there's a much stronger ability to actually turn a goal into something that's going to be productive for you. So put the time in. What do we need here? This is what I tell people. 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3, at least. 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3. 1 paragraph. 1 paragraph. 1 paragraph. That's it. If you're not sure what to write your paragraph about, dive into our sample trading plan and dive into the sample trading plan and get some feedback, get some tips. Questions, comments, concern, anything about A, the market and the posture, B, the watch list and the short list, C, the trading plan and the section that we're working on. Sandy says, feels good to have things going again. I agree 100%. All right. Well, I'm going to let us go then. I will see you guys in just under 21 hours. And I actually have a feeling that there may be a morning alert after our short week. So be ready for that as well. It's good to see everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will see you in the morning. As always, happy trading.
Recording